Trojan Family. What's up, man? USCJ here. It's the top of the morning. It's the top of the morning. Listen, I hope everybody is getting ready to get up, get out, and make some things happen this morning. Listen, I got a couple of things I got to share with you guys today, but listen, the closer this game gets, day by day, listen, I am beginning to get very antsy. Like, I can't even stop moving. I can't even stop thinking about it. And the more I think about it, the more I want to research this game and the more I want to try to dig out different things as it relates to this LSU USC football game that I can possibly dig out. And one of the guys that I want to dig out is Woody Marks. How did Woody Marks perform last year against LSU? I want to talk about that. And then the betting lines. The betting lines continue to change with this USC football LSU games. You guys know I got the sunglasses on because the future is absolutely bright. I'm excited. But the betting lines, you guys know, I brought it to you yesterday. It was a 5-point difference. It was initially 6 points. Now it changed to 5 points. Now we got it today. You guys know I recorded the night before, but it's actually at 4.5 now. It continues to go down. Why is that happening? You guys already know the future is bright. It's happening because they know that USC, they are beginning to put these things together. The pieces are coming together. The intel is coming together. The information is coming together, and it's straight up go time. And look, now USC is beginning to get to be, before you know it, before this game starts, I can tell you that it's going to be a 50-50 game. I want to talk about some information that was put out. ESPN, FPI, they put out some information as it relates to LSU schedule, and we'll talk about that as well. But real quick before we talk about that, and there was an offensive lineman that was injured, a starting guard that was injured, and he was in a boot. I listened to a couple of LSU podcasts, and come to find out this guy was in a boot. I cannot remember his name. They saying that he's going to heal up, but that's just some information just to kind of stick there up in your head, just so you guys can kind of know that, look, they have a couple of injuries, and I believe it's a backup wide receiver and a backup. Both of those guys are second string, the wide receiver and the DB, and then the offensive guard is actually a starter. So those are a couple of things that we want to talk about as well. But real quick, I just want you guys to really reflect back and consider what Woody Marks was last year versus LSU. I want you to consider who he was as a running back, period. Woody Marks is extremely explosive, a guy that's able to move and groove, a guy that's able to catch the ball with his hands, but a guy that knows how to run the ball. I play running back. You got to be able to run the ball. You got to have that vision and that cutback. Notice how Woody Marks, what he did against LSU. He only had 8 carries, I believe. We'll take a look at it. I got to take a look at this run again, his runs again. But 8 carries for, I think, 75 yards. But listen, he exploded off of one run, which was about 52 yards. We'll take a look at that information. You'll see him here, though. But look at the cutback. To have that stutter step and to have the ability to cut back. And what's ironic is Woody Marks, he was at an SEC school, but to come here and put on, 8 pounds, he put on solid muscle. But look at this cutback right here. And just to have that ability to cut back like that, and then you doing it against a team that we're actually playing against, oh my God, I think that's speaking values of what's to come with this USC football team and Woody Marks. How can Lincoln Riley utilize a guy like Woody Marks in this offense? Of course, we're going to have guys like Miller Moss. He's going to get the ball down the field to the multiple receivers. But you got a guy this explosive coming out the backfield. You don't know if he's going to do, he could do the fake lead run and then go ahead and do a 5 and out. You don't know what he's going to do, a screenplay, but you could do so many things with a guy like Woody Marks. And so I can really talk about him because he was named the starter, and I think it's straight up go time. We know, and look, I had it wrong. I thought it was Wednesday today as far as the depth chart coming out. I got my days mixed up. It's actually next Wednesday, the actual depth chart for the USC football Trojans is getting ready to come out. I don't know why it's coming out so late, but we do know that we got 2 confirmed starters, which is somebody like Bear, he's going to start, but which is Miller Moss and Woody Marks. And I think that's good. But here is Woody Marks' numbers. Let me see if I can blow this up. But you see him there last year, 8 carries for 73 yards, and it was a 9.4 yard per carry, and the long was 52 yards. And so you're talking about a very, very explosive guy. And you got to start, when you start digging with this game and dissecting this game, you got to start digging out as many things that are possible that'll be advantage USC. This is not tennis, advantage USCJ, but this is advantage Woody Marks in certain areas, especially against, you had Harold Perkins, if I'm not mistaken, he was on that edge. He wasn't playing the linebacker position, the inside linebacker position, which they switched him at. That's LSU's linebacker, Harold Perkins, but he was on that edge. But Woody Marks was able to move and groove and juke those guys. And look, that is an advantage USC. Now, I got to get to this information that comes directly from an LSU podcast. There was an ESPN FPI that came out, and it was LSU's schedule. And LSU schedule, the first game of the season, is crazy because it's kind of going along with the betting lines right now. USC, they got at 54%. LSU has a 54% chance to win. That's almost 50-50. Before, it was higher than that. But now, 54%, that's basically a 50-50 game. ESPN FPI. Now, you guys know I brought you some information about the Matrix Analytics that a guy, his model is a lot more precise than a lot more accurate, rather, than the ESPN SPI. And the past 10 years, the Matrix Analytics, which I brought you guys that information probably a month ago, what talks about USC is to meet Ohio State according to this Matrix Analytics. Now the FPI is kind of starting to shape up and get a little bit closer to what the Matrix Analytics is showing. And so I think that's really saying a whole lot. But this is LSU's schedule on the year. I'm just going to point out a couple of games. They have USC versus LSU. LSU has a 54% chance to win. Mississippi State, LSU has a 94% chance to win. LSU versus UCLA, they have a 79% chance to win. So you see USC is all in the mix. LSU versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss has a 62% chance to win. So you see USC to be right there at the 54 spot, basically 50 percentile rate as far as the chance to win. That is saying a whole lot. When you're talking about a team like USC, even Vanderbilt, look at Vanderbilt. They have LSU is an 86% chance to win. But when it comes to USC, now the FBI is going closer to the model of the Matrix Analytics, man. So you guys could drop those comments. You guys could tell me what you think. I thought that was a fascinating thing because right now, as this thing gets closer, not only am I getting antsy, but I think the Matrix Analytics is getting antsy. I think the FBI is getting antsy. I think the betting lines are getting antsy because things are now shifting according to, what they possibly see. And, man, it's straight up go time. So you guys can hit me in the comments on that, and you guys can tell me what you think. But I want you guys to listen to some of this LSU podcast, and it was incredible, some of the things I heard. I can't even remember the name of this podcast. I'll put the link in the description. Hopefully I'll find it. I'll just listen to different. There's about, just like there's a couple of USC more than a couple. We got multiple podcasts. When I started my podcast last year, 2.5 years ago, the only ones that was We Are SC that I know of and Inside Troy. That was it. I started mine then. And then I believed I started mine in February of 2022. And then I think August, I started seeing Locked On SC. August, September, I think they started, Locked On SC started getting it. And then I started seeing other ones like Trojan Blade. And then, you got all of them, Light the Torch. It's a lot of good, there's a lot of good content creators that represent USC. The point I'm trying to make is they got a bunch of them just like we do at LSU. Now, here's another one. They were talking about LSU stuff, and it was incredible. I think LSU is kind of they're kind of concerned. Listen to some of this real quick, and I want you guys to tell me what you think about this. Listen.
See where USC, it gives you a 54.6 chance to win. And you got to remember, guys, a football game is a binary event, right? It is inherently 50-50. So, like, a great percentage would be around, like, if you're into the 60s, that means they'd kind of view as being significantly better than that other team. So I would say 54% is probably pretty accurate, given what we know about these two guys. Does it feel a little too close to comfort? Yes, but it feels a bit where my head's been at lately as I think about Miller Moss and actually some of the parallels to Nuss, where Miller Moss is another guy who bided his time, didn't leave, survived. Malachi Nelson coming in, who then had to transfer out. Didn't get in the starter at Boise, by the way. You saw that? Oh, yeah, I did. Looks like Malachi Nelson probably going to be hitting the portal again. But, survived the young 5-star, waited behind Caleb, bided his time. It's a lot like Nuss. And so, yeah, I'm not taking this USC team for granted. So I'd say about 55%. I'd say that makes sense for me.
So let me stop that there. But that is an LSU podcast. Look, they know that they're getting ready to come up against a team. Look, just like we know we're getting ready to come, we're not going to take LSU for granted. We're not going to consider LSU just a Utah State. We know that this is a big time game. We know that everybody's going to be locked in, and I think it's straight up go time, man. So you guys can drop those comments. There's one more bit of information that I want to share with you in reference to some of this podcast, because they were just spitting out all types of nuggets yesterday. And I got a couple of news and note items I got to touch on. One is Pete Carroll that I failed to touch on yesterday, but I want to touch on that. But listen to some of this more information that they're sharing.
Florida. And yeah, probably one of those games. Yeah, because those are the.
That's not it right there. I might have accidentally deleted it. But anyway, they were sharing some information as it relates to some of the offensive linemen that were actually hurt. I thought I wrote it down, but I got stuff all over the place. But anyway, I mentioned it. LSU has a offensive lineman, a starting guard that's hurt. So you guys already know that. But one of the other news and note items that I wanted to touch on was the fact that Pete Carroll, I'm not really sure of his exact position, but he is returning to USC. It was announced, according to ESPN, ex-Seahawks coach Pete Carroll tells Sports Radio 93.3 KJR-FM that he'll start teaching a class at USC. Not sure exactly what class. Now, when this was posted yesterday, there were so many people hitting me up like, Jay, he needs to come back and be on staff. Now, look, you guys know I did a video about Pete Carroll will be a great mentor to somebody like Lincoln Riley. But here's the thing, though. And this is the question I want to put out there. If everything is going good right now with the coaching staff and the chemistry is there right now, Eric Henderson, all these guys coming, Sean Newer there now, Deanton Lynn, right? You got Henson. You got multiple coaches. Taylor Mays now officially assistant defensive back coach. You got multiple coaches there, Doug Belt, Matt Ince. You know, it just like the same way. And I'm going to say this. And this, of course, please don't take this the wrong way, because I know some will come on here. They will twist it up. They will say, but listen, if we have a chemistry right now, the same way as chemistry in the locker room, do you think a guy like Pete Carroll would disrupt that? Or would he add to that? I mean, that's just a simple question. Don't take it the wrong way. You guys can answer it simply by saying yes or no. Do you add, I personally would take, especially when you're talking about recruiting, but that's a whole nother story. We'll get into that. We'll make that a whole nother show, especially when you're talking about recruiting, because Pete Carroll knows the landscape. And so maybe Pete Carroll can kind of help influence and help show him the landscape. You guys know Pete Carroll went to Watts. He went to Compton. He went everywhere. You know what I mean? But we'll talk about that another time. So that's one news and note item. Pete Carroll is coming back. He's returning to USC. So, and with that being said, I got one more news and note item, and that is right here. USC is introducing a Spanish language voice at USC football. His name is Harry Ruiz. He's going to be broadcasting these games in Spanish. I don't think the USC's ever had that. But he actually, I don't really know him that well, but he looked like he had a podcast on YouTube and he was doing some Raider stuff. and now he's coming to USC, but he's going to be the official Spanish channel for the University of Southern California, Harry Ruiz. So I think that's shout out to him and shout out to what they're doing. So look, man, you guys drop those comments, man. What do you guys think about Woody Marks, man? Woody Marks' creativity, his mobility. I mean, he's able to move and groove as it relates to what he did with LSU. Drop those comments. You guys let me know what you guys think. And what do you think about the comments that are coming from the LSU podcaster, man? They're not taking it lightly. And look, I'm getting excited. It's go time. It's on and popping. Every day it gets closer. You're probably gonna see me coming out of everything right now. Because I mean, right now, I am straight up excited. This is a big time game. And contrary to popular belief, I think one of the reasons, partly the reason I'm getting very excited is I know this is a game. I hear multiple people say that we really don't need this game. We can lose this and still make the playoffs. Look, there are no moral victories. I don't care if we won by 1 point. I don't care if we won by half a point. There are no moral victories. I feel like I would like to see USC go out there and impose their will. I would like to see USC dominate that game. I just want to see it, because it'll be a weight off of our shoulders. It's like the whole world for a while now has been up against us. Not only against us, they've been pretty much dragging our coach in the mud, Lincoln Riley. And I believe if Lincoln Riley were to get this victory, let me say that. Let me change that. Forgive me, Lord. When Lincoln Riley gets this victory versus LSU, I believe this is going to be a weight off of his chest, just given the fact that how they drug him all summer long. You guys can drop those comments, man. You guys tell me what you think. As you guys see, I am beginning to get very fired up right now. Hit me in the comment section. You guys tell me what you think. I'm out of here, man. Listen, happy Thursday to everybody. Excuse me. Happy. Is this today? Yeah. Happy. I am lost in the sweet and sour sauce. I am very lost in the sauce right now. Happy Wednesday. Happy Thursday to everybody. I'm completely lost in the sauce. Until later on, listen, everybody stay blessed. Fight on, fight on, fight on.